Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another super cool radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a very special episode. We'll be discussing the Amalgamation Project II taking place on August 17th in Detroit, Michigan. I got two great guests joining me at this time who are part of the Amalgamation Project. First up, making her debut here on Super Cool Radio, she is the bassist and vocalist for Fatal Conceit, the bassist and vocalist for Never Decaf, and the bassist for Ricky Rocks. Please welcome Katie Puga.
Former bassist for Stage Drive as well.
I missed it. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on Super Cool Radio, making your debut here on the podcast.
So happy for having me. Thank you.
And also joining me at this time, making his sixth appearance here on the podcast, he is the creator of the Amalgamation Project. He's an incredible drummer from Michigan. Please welcome Bryan Knickerbocker.
Yeah, 6 times. There's 2 people, I think, that have more than me.
I believe so.
Matt, Jamie for sure. Jamie Bostel for sure.
Yes. No, actually, I think you're second. I believe
I'm in second place. Fantastic.
So.
Don't give him that. Tell him he's in 8th place.
Oh man.
I was trying to think of everything. I believe yes. I believe you're in second, but someone can fact check me on that. I don't keep track of the statistics very well. All right, so I know we got quite a bit to discuss. Obviously, Amalgamation Project II, as I said, taking place on August 17th at the Token Lounge. Before we get to that, a question not about the Amalgamation Project. I'm just curious for you guys, what music have you been listening to this week?
Ooh, this week. I've been going back to my emo stuff. I was listening to Make Me Famous yesterday. just going straight back into my 2010, 2011 emo kid days. Been feeling it. I loved it though.
I have been. So we have Never Decaf has a show tomorrow. So my whole cover playlist has been on shuffle. But outside of that, I've still been listening to the Tortured Poets Department because it's just a phenomenal body of work. And one of my favorite artists, Sasha Sloan, came out with a new album, which I'm super excited about. And she's kind of underground, but her music and she's such a great lyricist. So I've been kind of hooked on that.
Very nice.
There you go, a little plug for that.
I like Taylor.
Okay,
to be fair, I also like Sailor Moon. This entire room is decked out in Sailor Moon stuff. And so Wayne actually got me a shirt that was Sailor Moon anime, but it was Taylor Swift. So it was Taylor Moon. And it's my most prized possession now. Don't you even make that face because it's punny and you know it. And it's 2 of my favorite things.
I'm mad that it's good. Okay.
I'm mad that you didn't think of it.
Let's just move on now. Not bitter.
All right. I don't know how to transition out of that to my next question, so I'm just going to dive into my next question. But it sounds like a great idea, and whoever came up with that is making a lot of money.
I wouldn't doubt it. They have enough of my money, that's for sure.
Very good. All right, so before we talk about the 2024 version of the Amalgamation Project, so how did the 2023 version of the Amalgamation Project go?
Really good.
It did. It went really good. But it was definitely because it was the first one. So you never know how things are going to turn out, how it's going to be received and everything, right? So I feel like Bryan and I last year were massive balls of anxiety through every decision that we were making.
No, I was fine. What are you talking about? No, I was.
I was so relieved after it had actually finished up. And it was honestly magical, having all of those people from the local scene together. And we stayed, we closed out the bar, everybody was hanging out and new connections were made, which is really cool. It ended up being kind of this just great local, I don't know, a compilation show. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, it was. And there was definitely some first year bugs there. I apparently didn't make enough call sheets, and there were certain people that didn't know when they were supposed to be on, but there was going to be one on the front and back of every door this year. But they were all like the show itself didn't go bad. Like everybody sounded great. You know, there were 2 songs that weren't rehearsed until the day of the show. And they still turned out great. Everybody definitely, you know, absorbed it as they should have, and we were all pretty much under the consensus of what's going to be next year. So it was really cool to see everybody come together and dig each other's vibes and, you know, step out of their comfort zone. Some people hadn't written outside of the band that they were in until that night and that show, and a lot of people were, you know, rolling with it, and it was really cool.
Very nice. Sounds like it was awesome. For most part, all the way around, sounds like awesome experience for everyone involved. And yeah, they're definitely just make more copies of call sheets. Outside of that, it sounds like it would be. It sounds like last year was great all the way around for everybody. So I'm curious, like for both of you guys, what was like the biggest like takeaway? Like, what was the biggest thing you learned through the Amalgamation Project?
Don't stress. Go with the flow. It is what it is. Like right before your slot, you're as prepared as you're gonna be. So just like you're performing in front of friends, it's supposed to be hard, challenging, and fun. So it's like try not to overthink it. I think that's something, like, because I'm really like I still have stage fright even to this day. So I was really like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? Sing a song that I wrote like for the first time on stage, and it's really anxious. So I kind of this year I'm approaching it with just like let's have fun. Let's see what art we can make with this one person, and I'll probably never perform this song again. So it's just gonna be what it is.
Yeah, going with the flow is definitely something that was something that I learned last year as well. It definitely tests everybody. I mean, not to, you know, put anybody's over the other, but just want to reiterate that the house band learns like 10 plus songs, and we get an hour and 15 minutes with each pair to get to like formulate the song over one rehearsal 3 weeks before the show. It taught me a lot about what I can do. I also struggle with anxiety and stage fright related things. I don't think that ever really goes away for everybody. There's still the little 13-year-old that's getting in front of somebody to sing happy birthday for the first time. Like, oh, no, I'm scared. But like, once you get up there, you got it. And like Katie said, when that's the one thing that everybody had in common that did the show last year is as soon as you get up on stage, you're as ready as you're going to be, and whatever happens pretty much. So, and it all went well.
Yeah, it did.
Well, I'm glad, you know, overall it's a positive experience for you guys. And yeah, going with the flow is something I've tried to do better. Like, because as I told you guys earlier before the interview, like I work in live entertainment for a minor league baseball team, and that is sometimes you just have to go with stuff because sometimes it just doesn't work out quite right, and you just have to play it off, and stuff like that happens. So I definitely understand, like with, you know, similar to what you guys have to do.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's everybody was going through that exact same thing. We had our shot, and it's, you know, what you did between the time we got together and the time it was to go. That's all that we had left, and you know, whatever happened.
Oh, for sure. So, Katie, I'm curious for you. Like, so when the Amalgamation Project, you know, the last year, so like when Bryan reached out to you, like, what were your first like kind of reactions to the idea?
I was like, let's fucking go. This is great. I was like, it reminded me of when I was in high school. I was a part of this creative and performing arts program, and we put on a show that was a review of everything that the school had done within like the last 5 years or whatever. So it was just random songs from random musicals, and it was all performed. And it kind of reminded me of that. I was like, this is just one going to highlight the specific artist from whatever band or, solo performer, wherever they come from. But it's also going to challenge them to take their style and mix it together with somebody else's style, somebody that you've never worked with before. So I was a little nervous. I was probably a lot more nervous than Bryan was when it came to planning it, because from the moment he told me about it, we were kind of in it together. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, no, we need like a year to plan something like this. Like, are we getting sponsors? Like, is this going to be a big show? Like, what are we talking about? And
it got pushed back about 6 months or so. I was actually considering canceling it, and then Katie convinced me.
I remember that you were going to cancel it, and I was like, no, like, we've put so much work into it already. Let's just push it back 6 months. Like, nobody knows about it yet, so the artists are just going to be happy. They have even more time to work on their song.
And now they have less.
I know, but hey, you know what? Some people just work better under not procrastination, but under pressure. So
due to procrastination.
I am one of those people. Like when Jalen and I last year went into rehearsals with the house band, all we had was a track. We had no lyrics, so the band had nothing to go off of, no cues. I'm like writing the lyrics as we're listening to the song. I think we had our song finished the week of the show.
I remember I remember after we got done with the last rehearsal or the last run through, because Phil Stewart from Elsie Banks did just guerrilla recordings of all of the different things. So there was a version of the song that could be utilized by everybody. Jalen Johnson from the Half of It, luckily, is like really good at making demos for me to work off of. So he had that for me. But after we got done, I remember Katie she was sitting on a couch with her boyfriend, just chilling the whole time, and she goes, "I think I got a melody for this." And then later that week,
he wrote the song in like a week, and he gave us a year to write it, and we waited until the last week. We didn't even practice it together. The only time we practiced it was in the car, like an hour before we were supposed to go on stage. So, but it was fun. It was great. And now we know what to expect for this year, so we can manage time. And
a lot of people do, which is a lot of weight off of my shoulders as well, is that it's just a little bit more than half of the people from last year are still doing it this year. So it helps me out a lot, not having to not babysit, but just this is I explain this to everybody is it's a high school project. Like you got to do your part of the homework. And I can't sit there and babysit 20 full grown adults. Like I got other stuff that we have to take care of on the business side of things. So everybody kind of knowing what the end goal is this year has definitely been helpful.
Well, I'm glad to hear. So do you think the Amalgamation Project II is going maybe more smoothly than last year's?
100%.
Yeah.
We have
last year we were sailing on rough seas and we were all just kind of winging it. This year the crew's a little bit more, you know what I'm saying?
There were specific people that I added that kind of had a higher level of professionalism, and I paired them with other, I really took my time with the pairs this year. And yeah, I think there's going to be 11 songs, and we have, I think 7 or 8 demos already in various forms. I just got another one yesterday or the day before. So yeah, I know, right? Katie's eyes got big because she knows how big that is compared to last year. So
not only
it's
that,
good.
You'll have mine soon.
Yes, I will.
As soon as I think of something, you'll have something.
Well, before I get to Katie's pairing and song, I did want to talk about, so what is your process for the pairings? They've already been released. I saw them online. What is there any kind of method to it, or I think these people work together well?
So the first year, it was just a lot of the people were people that I had played in bands with, because like I've kind of been doing the fill in, I'm here if you need me type of thing. So I've been making all these connections, and Jalen and the half of it, Tim and Katie from Fatal Conceit. I did a house show that actually was what was it, yesterday or the day before? It was 2 years ago. I sent you that screenshot from Facebook.
Hell?
Yeah, the house show from hell. John Penman and Caitlin Muller from Crafted and all these people. So it was, a lot of people think that like it's just random, but I was talking to Ryan McPherson about this last weekend, that like at the very least I'll know how to play one of your songs kind of sort of on drums if I ask you to do this. Like I want to be a fan of the music that you do outside of here, so I know what would work well, and get the pairs for this year. It was a lot more of the same. It was, the new people that I brought in are people from still our friend group. And I knew who they worked well with and what their styles kind of were. I haven't really had to go outside of that yet. So it was just, seeing what I think would work for various reasons, whether it be, Katie and Ricky working together. Sorry, I didn't mean to segue into your next question. Katie and Ricky working together because they worked together with me and Ricky's solo thing, and they've known each other for a while. There's a lady named Jamie McGarry. God, I hope I said that name right. She's paired with Jen Reed from Elsie Banks, and they've been friends for a long time, but have never written a song together. And so that's why they're writing a song together. But it could just be the genres would mesh well together. At one point, I had a rapper paired up with a pop punk guy, and I was like, "Cool, we'll make fucking Linkin Park. Like this will be great." Unfortunately, the pairing fell through, but that's one of the things that kind of goes into it as well.
Oh my God! I mean, I'm glad there's at least you seems like you like really think about like what the process is and like who's working together. So, like, do you have any kind of idea like what music like that the song might sound like? Do you have like any idea like could sound like this, or you just like or just surprised when they send you a demo?
Sometimes it works, like with Katie and Jalen last year. Like I knew that, Katie plays in a metal band, but she's an emo kid like me. And Jalen plays in a pop punk band that I play with as well. So I'm like, that works out because like, they both kind of vibe with the same thing. So, but there's other times like there's the guitar player from Let It Rot. His name's Andrew Ketchum. He's paired up with a guy named Tyler Morin, who is in like a hair metal band. And Let It Rot's like, he's gonna be mad at me for saying this because he already kind of chastised me for it, but I called him death metal, but like apparently that's not right. But he never told me what the right answer is. So
Let It Rot?
Yeah.
I would put them in like a heavier metalcore.
Sure. Listen, like soapbox real quick, like metal elitist, y'all need to chill. Like it's not that deep, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. But they're doing so, but that pair's doing a straight up like hair metal song together. But again, it's kind of one of those things where like Andrew's really into hair metal, but nobody knows because he's in this really heavy band. And it's going to kind of give him a chance to showcase a different side of his playing and, stuff like that. So
I think in the first year too, it was kind of vital that we pull from close friends because we needed to make sure that people were going to stay committed, and we needed to pull from like the really close friend group first. Mm-hmm. And it was like a couple of outliers because you just needed these people to come through for you. There were so many pairings that fell out last year just because they, didn't get around to it, didn't feel like doing it anymore, like just completely changed their mind. Like we lost so many groups last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the work ethic thing, like I touched on with the whole high school project kind of mentality. Like I'm, I hope for the best, but kind of prepare for the worst. And luckily for everybody, other than the workload that I'm going to be doing leading up to it, and that we haven't lost a whole lot this year as far as pairs. So it's good. Like, I could take another hit and be like, okay, like, cause like 11 songs is going to be it's going to be a challenge. Rehearsal weekend is going to be a lot more full. I know that.
It sounds like you got a lot on your plate with all that to try to learn all of those songs from ranging different styles as well. I was actually going to get to, you keep jumping my questions. I was going to get to that part, but before I do that, this is a question before I forget. So Katie, you're paired with Ricky Rocks. Mm-hmm. So how is that going so far?
Great. We've done so much for our track. Like talking to each other is where we started.
Communication's important.
Communication. And then, you know, a couple weeks pass and then we're like, we still doing this? And we're like, yeah, we're still doing this. And then a couple weeks pass and then we're like, hey, we gotta start doing that. And it's
I would just like to point out that I
haven't started yet.
She got after me for pairing Ricky. She got after me for pairing Ricky with somebody and was like, "Oh, those two are just like giant procrastinators. They're never going to get anything done." And I'm like, "Cool. I'll put her with him.
Throw me under the bus then."
Yeah, I will, because like, but by the time this comes out, you'll have more done. So you'll be like, "Hee hee, look at that lighting the fire under my butt."
I'm a sleepy girl.
They'll get something done. Katie's a busy girl.
I know. You do say he sends me the pairing lesson and he asked me like what I think about it, and I'm like, no, those two, nothing's gonna get done between those two. Like, or no, you cannot put those two together. There's beef there.
I have to double check because I'm still like a transplant in the area. Like, I don't know the beef or, you know, who's pissed at who about what or who screwed around with who. Like, I'm just.
Well, there was an instance
double check
where we had somebody drop off the show just because somebody else was playing the show.
They didn't want to be associated even.
Yeah. So
they weren't even paired with either any of the people from that.
Right. So it was just the association. I was like, this is silly. Like, the whole point of this is to bring people together. And like, if you can't exist with another person in the same room, like when the local scene is so small, like, just sometimes you just gotta, like, I don't want to say like suck it up, but it just seems silly to not be a part of something just because somebody else is doing it. Because it's a great thing. Like what Bryan has pulled together, like, it could keep going for generations if you have enough people in the middle, like, carrying it on. Like, you could just keep it going. It could turn into something cool.
I hope it does this year, in fact.
No, it is like I'm kind of more of an outsider because I'm just more of like a journalist and podcaster. So like, I don't like know too much about some of the scenes that, like, you know, I work in because I interview everybody from, you know, many different music scenes. It's always amazed me, like, just like what kind of beef goes on in a local music scene sometimes.
It's just honestly, it's so stupid. It's one of the things that frustrate me to like no end. But the local music scene is like glorified high school, if you really think about it. It's just different cliques, different genres, all with that mentality, like it's a 24/7.
One of my friends, he was talking to me about the show, and it was something that he said to me that was like, it really kind of vilified, you know, I don't know if that's the right word. It like made it so like, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing it for. He's like, hey, I just want to say the music scene in Michigan's kind of been like dying recently. Like there's no tide coming in, and you're basically saying, fuck it, I'll be the change by doing something so drastic and off the wall to kind of revitalize the scene. And I'm, you know, it's funny because everybody always is like, oh yeah, community. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally why I did it to begin. I just wanted to hang out with all my friends all in one spot because I was sick of weekend here. Oh, I can't get to that show. Oh, I'm playing down here and over. Nobody's allowed to play that night except for the Amalgamation Project. Everybody's hanging out with us.
Yeah. The other thing that I really like about our project is, so this year we have people who are doing it who this is their debut in like music. They've never done anything with music before. Like the person I'm talking about is Ryan McPherson, because he won't care if I bring him up, but he has.
Oh, he'll be excited.
Yeah, he's never like been on. Well, he's been on stage as like a guest feature, but to like write your own song and be on stage, you don't even have to be a musician to be a part of this project. You just have to like want to be in the arts in some capacity. And
yeah, Shane Schwab too. He's not
exactly. And he came to the last show, and I was like, dude, like he had his guitar on him the entire time. We were just like doing little acoustic jams, and I'm like, dude, you need to be on this show. Like you have to have a partner.
He was definitely one of the people that made me want to do it again, even if I hadn't already made up my mind, because he got exactly what I wanted everybody to get from it.
He's such a pure soul too. He's like, the dude is the best. He's got that golden retriever energy.
He really does.
He just like he does. But like the not even like feisty golden retriever, like the super loyal golden retriever energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's a good
Yeah. So, and half of Ryan's family didn't even know that was one of his aspirations to be a musician.
Yeah. And I've known Ryan since 3rd grade. And he got pulled into, we still live in the same neighborhood even to this day. He's one of my absolute best friends. His daughter's basically my daughter. So he got back.
He has that hyper golden retriever energy.
Oh yeah, totally. But he saw on Facebook just randomly one day that I was playing my very first show with Fatal. It was a New Year's Day show or whatever, and he DM'd me just out of the blue. Hadn't talked to him in a little bit, and he's like, "Hey, can anybody come to this show? Can I get a ticket?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes." Also, hi, how are you? Like, how's it going? And he like met me there at the show, and I pulled him in and introduced him to everybody, and he's just like absolutely flourished. Like what he's doing and how he's grown and having this project and things like this, and like people who genuinely want to see you succeed. It's just a great group of people that are involved. It kind of like worked out really well, because a lot of the people who were performing, myself included, like we were so effing nervous because you didn't know like how it was going to be received and how the bands were going to like jive with each other. So it was almost a little relieving that there weren't like a shit ton of people there, you know? Because
and there was like vibe out and get a feel for it. I was going to say there was also a really bad storm the Thursday before, the one where they had the tornadoes that went through. Y'all out east get like the remnants of the storms. Like I live in Central Michigan.
Great band, check them out.
Was it Williamston? I think is what that got hit really bad, and there's still like a lot of trees that are down. But it was good for everybody to just kind of get their feet wet. And now everybody, I think, wants it now to be like everybody's good now. So we're like, okay, let's grow this into something bigger.
I love the diesel, but I'm so happy it's happening at the Token.
Yeah,
that's where I was.
My house.
That's where I was going to go with that. Obviously, it was at the Diesel last year, which is a cool venue. I went there earlier this year for the first time, which I enjoyed. It was a cool show. But so now at the Token Lounge, like, so how did that come about? Like, did you want to play? Like, were you aiming to play there, or just kind of came up? Like, how did that come about?
You what?
No. I think it's cool to do this project at different venues. So you can, you can pull from people who are like in those local areas, but just like you're bringing different people together, I think it's nice to do it at different venues too.
It was never meant to be a static thing unless I got like into the Fox Theater on a regular basis or something like that. Like I'll hang out if I'm chilling at the Fox in downtown Detroit. But no, the Token Lounge is a venue that I've played at a couple of times. Actually, I opened up for Fatal Conceit before we knew each other. We occupied the same building before we officially met. They're really good. I want to keep, I like keeping it. I briefly consider going to a bigger venue. My Delaney Natke, she was like, "Yeah, just do it at like a community college theater." I'm like, "Cool, you're paying for that, right?" I love her though. I'm excited that she's a part of it too. But yeah, I'm still kind of pulling from what I have as far as connections and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm not physically out and at shows and meeting people unless I'm playing at the show. So
that's kind of
Kate. Yeah, Katie's my my street. I was gonna say street level. But her and Ricky both know lots and loads of people, and I pretty much, as long as I catch them at a good time, they're very helpful with getting things like that. But the Token's cool. I like their one issue that we had last year is that we weren't given access to changing rooms. I put in the Facebook group, I was like, "Yeah, everybody, don't worry, show up in your pajamas. We'll be able to change in the changing room." Because we talked about that, and then I get there, and all of a sudden, no, you can't use that. So we all had to change in the bathrooms. So the Token having backstage facilities is definitely something that I specifically wanted for this year, so that I can actually make that promise and have it actually come true. Because I felt really bad last year.
Well, I'm glad sorting out some of the issues that we faced last year with everything. Change room is very important, so I'm glad that worked out. I've heard great things about the Token. I've never been there myself, but I've heard great things about the spot as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You're gonna go though, because we have this really great show. I don't know if you know about it, but like, it's super cool.
I see what you did there.
I will have to check with my agent.
Okay.
Just his iCalendar.
yeah, your agent actually told me that you're free, so.
Well.
We know the same people.
I'm gonna have to fire my agent then.
Oh shit.
We'll see. You never know when I pop up. I just pop up randomly sometimes. But we'll see. But I did want to talk about tickets for the event. Where are the places? Like, where can people get it? Are they on sale? How much? All of those details.
Tickets are $10. That's the other cool part that I like. I stuck to my guns about that last year because the promoter that I was working with wanted, a lot of times local shows or pre-sales or this, and your day of is $5 more or something like that, and it tries to incentivize people to buy early for legitimate reasons, but I feel like it's an outdated thing. So you're getting like a diagonal slice of like the local scene for $10. And if you're a part of the scene, but you're not a part of the show, you can show up here and like meet so many people all at once that are all there and all musicians and all want to hang out and, make connections. But those tickets are available at the ticket link that I'm sure Matthew is going to put someplace very convenient on this video, probably down there. There's also a Facebook event page, the Amalgamation Project II live at the Token with special guests, Letters from Abel and the TM Experience, who I'm also very excited to have on the show as well. And they're on sale now, and you should buy them.
Yeah, definitely. As Bryan said, they will be in the description of this podcast. Please check them out, buy them, and support this awesome event. Katie, I think you're about to say something.
I just say I second that.
Oh, okay, very good.
From that frame.
Yeah, it's mirrored. It's mirrored.
But since he said that you have to put the thing there, now you have to put it there. Yeah.
He's just gonna go and post and make a little floaty bubble following.
That Ryan said, put the link.
Yes. Yep.
It will. The link will be somewhere. people will be able to find it, I hope. So yeah, but if you're only listening to this on audio, then well,
there
Katie's
are some
pointing,
flailing arms. Imagine like one of those like things outside of a
wacky waving arm flailing inflatable tube men.
Yeah, tell me why my mom actually bought like a whole ass costume, and I have a picture of her inside this little tube, squeezed like a sausage, and she just has the happiest look on her face, and it's got the flailing arms and the little head and everything. It's a blow up costume.
I need to see this picture.
More happy in my life. I'll find it. I'll hold the camera.
That I can.
Look how happy she is, though.
She's gonna be so happy that the whole world gets to see that picture now.
Oh, I heard you posted that on Facebook when it happened.
Jeez.
I didn't know they make costumes like that, but I guarantee whoever came up with that idea probably making more money than me.
I didn't either. So imagine my surprise when I received the picture. It took a second for my brain to process what it was witnessing.
Was there any context, or she just sent the photo?
No. I think she was literally like, "Hey, guess what?" and then sent the picture. It's like something along those lines. And I'm like, I love you, but are you okay? Do we have to talk? Are you losing it?
So Katie and I have only known each other we've been like friends for like the past like 2-3 years. And it's funny because like the more stories I hear like that, the more I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense about why she
I am my mother's daughter. Hey,
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
You got so.
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Please don't get rid of me. I just like.
She'll be sticking around, Matt. Don't worry.
Your little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Sister. Oh.
Alrighty. Well, I think when you start talking about inflatable two men costumes, I think we have come to kind of the conclusion of this interview. I just got a few more things before we wrap this up. So, as mentioned, tickets are in the description of this podcast. Please check out and support this awesome project, the Amalgamation Project II. I was going to get to this, and I'm going to get to this now. So, Bryan, do you have the house band assembled and put together for the Amalgamation Project II?
The house band for the Amalgamation Project II is the exact same house band from the Amalgamation Project I. Will Pruitt, Matthew Shannon, Allie Spence, and I will all be back. And I am very, very thankful for that because we also are going to be better this year as a unit. We kind of we got a vibe for everybody. We're actually writing a song that's going to specifically highlight us. Like it's just going to be the four of us up there, just kind of doing a little song of our own. So, but yes, the house band is all coming back. Gang's all here. OG house band. I'm excited.
Very nice, very nice. And before we head out, Katie, I know I mentioned in the interview the bands you are part of: Fatal Conceit, Never Decaf, and Ricky Rocks. So before we head out, what are the plans for all of those bands for the rest of 2024?
So Never Decaf is kind of the one that's gigging a lot more now, just because it's a cover band, so it makes money. But so we have a show tomorrow for that up in Clinton Township at Winter's Bar. And we have a couple shows in the summer that we'll be doing. Fatal's next big show is at District 142, opening for Eva Under Fire and Boys of Fall. So we're super thankful for that because last year we got to open for Eva Under Fire there. So we're 2 for 2 with them playing at District. So we're really excited about that. So we're really focusing on like writing new music to maybe debut at this show and just making sure everything's really tight. Ricky's band is kind of like
we're chilling.
We're all adults, like we all have lives and kids and personal stuff. So that's the one that like we'll have like a peak where we're really productive and we write a song and then we go back and then we come back and kind of, so that's like our background when we all have free time, we
four of them are doing the Amalgamation Project, so they're all Wayne Elkins, Katie, and Ricky and I are all doing the Amalgamation Project. So that's what everybody's busy with right now.
There's been a little bit of talks of starting a new project, so I guess we'll see if that works out. But I'm not gonna say.
Is this
for now?
Is this the thing about the thing? Yep. Okay. Matt gets at least one of these moments out of me every single time on the show.
Yeah,
I get this close.
It's definitely been, I think, 3 out of 6 for sure.
I got close.
Maybe 4 out of 6. I forget. You always have something where you start talking about it and like either someone else will say no, or you just like, oh wait, I can't talk about this shit.
I did reveal some things that never ended up happening, but I did reveal some things. There's a metal version of Pop by NSYNC in my my drafts folder that I've been considering dusting off because I promised you that like a couple years ago.
I think it's going on 3 or 2. I can't remember, but yeah.
I'll get to it.
Who's counting?
Katie will help me. Katie will help. Just you're gonna help.
Okay, I'm there.
Got it.
Alrighty. Well, very good. Hopefully, we'll get to hear that at some point. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on Super Cool Radio. As I said, please check out support the Amalgamation Project 2. Links for all of that are in the description. Katie, Bryan, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio.
Thank you for having us, man. I appreciate you and everything that you do, as always, for the scene and stuff like that. And thank you for having me on so many times. And hopefully next time we can get the 3 dudes in Fatal Conceit and Katie for a super cool interview too.
We don't want to do that. We are really boring. No personality.
There's 2 lefties. There's 2 lefties in the band.
Doesn't even wipe when they poop. Yeah, you don't even want to know.
And you're not going to find out which one. Just leave it up to mystery.
Leave that up to your imagination.
Well, alrighty. Well, someone's just going to clip that from the interview and just take that all to context.
Anyway.
Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
That's your preview.
Absolutely. Very productive interview today on Super Cool Radio.
All right. Well, if someone sees a short of that on YouTube, it was definitely, I did not edit that. Anyway. But
thank you, Matt.
Of course. For Bryan and Katie, I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching this to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.